Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me for SAMS training. This is Heather Welch at the Wyoming Department of Health. This is SAMS training for week 3. We're going to go over rosters a little bit, and then we'll also talk about reports. So let's talk about rosters. When you're using rosters, rosters can be a little bit confusing, but they're also very helpful. So service records recorded in rosters are associated with the individual consumer records. So when we talk about recording a roster, we're not actually recording in the roster. The roster basically just gathers up all of the consumers for whom you want to enter information. And then that roster allows you to enter that information for all of those consumers all at once, as opposed to opening each consumer individually. So it saves you quite a bit of time when you're entering service deliveries for those consumers. So what you see on my screen are roster definitions that already exist in the SAMS system for some of our providers. So when you click on the roster tab right here, this is what SAMS opens to. You won't be able to see all of these because you can only see the roster definitions for your provider, your specific provider. I can see all of them because I'm the Wyoming State Administrator. So if you have questions about rosters, please don't hesitate to contact me. Like I said, they can be a little bit confusing, but they're also really handy. I'd love to go through and walk you through a roster, but I'm having a little bit of trouble setting up a dummy roster just because I don't have a dummy provider set up in SAMS. I have a couple of dummy accounts. You've seen me use my account, for example, as a dummy account, but I don't have a dummy provider. So if I were to open up a provider, it would show some PHI on the screen, some protected health information. And obviously, I don't want to be sharing that on the internet. So I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is I will talk a little bit about rosters, kind of give you a brief overview. And then if you have any other questions, again, you know that you're always more than welcome to contact me, give me a call or an email, or Jeannie as well. So when you are creating a roster for the first time, you'll definitely want to give us a call just so that we can help you decide whether you want your service filters to be based on a service delivery or a care plan, because that does make a difference. The roster definition list view will display all of your roster definitions as filtered or sorted by your settings. So by default, all of your roster definitions are shown, sorted by roster name, as you see here. This little arrow means that they're sorted alphabetically in order. So you click on Add New. To add a new roster definition, you'll enter a name for your roster. So the best practice that we found is to assign a name that's descriptive and easy to differentiate from your other rosters that exist. So your agency, your provider might have specific guidelines for roster names. So check with your system administrator. Select the roster type from the dropdown. A specified service roster only records one kind of service to your consumers. A multi-service roster can record different services to the same consumer list. And a service plan roster generates lists of consumers based on care plan service plans. So like I said, can get a little hairy. Let us know, we'll help you set this up. So you'll select the care program. Agency is always going to be us, and provider from the drop-downs. Agency and provider may limit available choices. And then your user security settings may also limit your drop-down choices. Sub-provider might be applicable depending on when you select provider. If you have any sub-providers, they'll be available there. If not, don't worry about it. Same with site. If your provider has multiple sites, that will be available. If you don't, this line's going to disappear. So then you'll add service filters if desired, and specified service rosters require designated services. So then you'll select based on either care plan or service delivery. So depending on which decision you choose to base your roster, you'll make that decision with our help probably. Like I said, definitely give us a call. So once you've filled that out and the roster definition is complete, you'll click Save to record the roster, and you can leave it open for further editing, or save and close to save the roster and return to the roster definitions list. Or we can click Close to close without saving. We'll go ahead and discard the changes. So if you have either an exit you want to enter service deliveries for, or you've just added your new roster and it now shows up here, the process is going to be the same for recording. You're going to click roster. The navigation bar, if you're not there already, you can either right click on the roster in which you're interested. You'll see that there's lots of options. The third one down is record roster. You can click there. Or what you can do is you can select whichever one you want. Let's say it's this one. Make sure that you single click to highlight it. Doesn't matter where in there you click. Just don't delete it. And come up here and click record roster. You can only use this record roster button up at the top if you've highlighted a single roster down here. So you'll record roster. You can only record in 1 month increments. So you can either click on this little calendar button here and choose the month, or you can type it into the box. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel so that I don't pull up any protected health information, but I'll go ahead and quickly walk you through the steps. So you want to enter the month and the year for which the services will be recorded, and then the roster is going to open. You'll enter the service units by totals or by service day. Again, let us know if you have questions. For meals, sometimes y'all track them by day. Sometimes you track them just on a monthly basis, for instance. So that's going to depend on how probably your director wants to have them tracked. Again, if you have questions, let us know. So you'll enter those in. So enter that using the keyboard. You can navigate using the tab or the arrow keys or your mouse and clicking in there. So total units will update. And then again, it's SAMS, so save periodically. When you're finished adding all your units, click Save to save the record, and then you're all done. So again, if you have questions about rosters, please do let us know. They can be confusing, but they're also a very powerful tool, and they help y'all save a lot of time. Because as I like to say, y'all are the boots on the ground. Y'all are the people out there, you know, entering all of this data that we need to track. And so it's important for all of us that you be able to enter this quickly and efficiently. So if we can help you in any way, definitely don't hesitate to let us know. So let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit and talk about reports. So there are a lot of report templates that come with SAMS, and then you can specify your own reports as well. So unless you're looking for something specific, I assume that the grand majority of the time you're probably going to be running reports that already exist, or what we call like pre-canned reports that we've already created for you. If you're looking for something specific though, or if your director is looking for something specific, you can run those reports, or you can get in touch with us and we can definitely help you run those reports as well. So to get to reports on this main navigation, it's right next to rosters. You'll click here. So first thing I like to go over with reports is this top half. These are all of the available reports from SAMS. And there's just a lot of different reports. And then report definitions are all the reports that we've created. And so obviously I was running some SRT stuff not too long ago, so I had searched for that. So there are multiple different service or report types. Assessments. So that's reassessment reports, blank assessment forms. Consumers generates list of goals, consumer directories, mailing labels, service orders, services. And all these report types, by the way, are right here up at the top. So you can go to assessments, uncheck that, click apply, or consumers, or I'm going to go ahead and leave it on services. So consumers, like I said, can be very helpful if you're wanting to send out newsletters in the mail and you want to mail it to everyone for whom you have an assessment. There's a report for that. And you can go into consumers there and run a mailing labels report, and it will generate mailing labels for you. So that's really handy. Services is what I use the most, and that's what the screen that we're on right now. And you'll know that because the type is services. Again, report types here is services. So this allows you to report on service deliveries with agency summaries, consumer lists and summaries, and instant mail information. So this is where I live a lot of the time. So in order to run monthly or quarterly reports, obviously you'll click here, open up reports. You'll want to click on report type, depending on what you're looking for. So then what you'll want to do is a lot of the time, like I said, most of the time the reports you're looking for already exist. So what you'll do, make sure that, again, you're in the correct report types. It's probably going to be services. If you're confused, let us know. And then you're going to filter for title, because you can see that we have a lot of reports, almost 1,500 report definitions. That's not the SAMS reports, that's the reports we've created, almost 1,500. That's a lot. So don't be trying to weed through all of those. Use filters. Filters are your friend. I'd recommend against using this value starts with. I prefer value contains. And so right now it's going to be 2018 because we're in 2018. Go ahead and apply filter. So I can see all the reports that y'all create as well as all the reports that we create for y'all. So if I wanted to see just the reports that y'all can see, oh, there it is. It'd be like so. So this is what your screen should look like when you filter for 2018. So these are your monthly and quarterly reports that you'll be running for your various programs to send in with invoices so that we can get y'all paid, which is important. So something else we try to really be on top of is either Jeannie or I will come into like these quarterly report definitions, for instance, and update the service dates as soon as the quarter changes. So because we haven't hit a new quarter for Weiss yet, or for 3E, sorry, I thought this was why I said 3. We haven't changed the dates, but as soon as we hit that next quarter, we'll update these start and end dates for you. So you can just go and run that report. So again, the first quarter for Title III programs is going to be October 1st through December 31st. Second quarter, January 1st through March 31st. You get the idea. So running reports is important, and it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Let's just pick one of these so that I can show you. So for instance, if we look at C1, it's already set for last month for January. So if we open that up, we're not showing consumers, so I can go ahead and show you this and go ahead and run it. Again, I want to be sensitive about PHI. I'm sure y'all understand. So if for any reason you ever need to add additional parameters, again, you can create your own. Let's just close this really quickly. You can create your own report definitions. And I think before I added this filter, you saw that there were a couple people who had created their own reports. It's very easy. Just click Add New. Give her a title. You can throw a subtitle or a description on there if you'd like. You can share with everyone, or you can just keep it to yourself. Does not matter. Again, you can show or hide consumers. You can, how about that? Okay. So we'll hide some of that stuff. Let's go ahead and agency is always going to be us. I'm sure I sound like a broken record at this point. Provider, y'all shouldn't have to choose a provider because you shouldn't be able to access anyone else's information. If I don't choose anything, it's going to show everyone's providership. Again, because we have a higher level and we can view all of y'all's data, but y'all can't view each other's within SAMS. So again, this NAPIS field, this is what you're collecting on the Agneses, and that's why that's so important that we get that information, is because we do track it and we send it up to the federal level. So it is really important to track that. So if I wanted to run this, say, for C1, it's in that care program there. That lives in the service delivery section. Again, you can get really specific with these reports. So if you have a specific need, let us know. When you're creating a new report, you can save and close it. And now, because I put 2018 on it, it should, there it is. Cool. So I can open it up, double check that it's for C1, people who are 60 or over. Just for January, I didn't specify a provider, so it should run for everyone. Again, you can open it to change any details you like. And then when you're running reports, you can either click the big preview button or you can click this pull down arrow and go ahead and run Adobe PDF. Now this one's probably going to take a little while because it's pulling all of y'all's information, every provider for January. So this is going to take a little while. Some of these run really quickly when they don't have to pull a lot of information. But when you're pulling them quarterly, sometimes take a little while. I run a lot of reports on a yearly basis, so those tend to take a little while. So do be patient. When you're running reports, make sure that this pop-up screen does in fact pop up. It means that your report review preview is being generated. If it doesn't pop up, it means that SAMS isn't working on your report. So you got to push that button again. So just be patient. And there it is. And there it goes. That's great. So because I didn't specify a provider and I didn't show a provider, we don't know who's who or what's what, but we see that within C1, there was case management, there were congregate meals, there was nutrition counseling, there was nutrition education being provided across the state in January. So a total of 53,282. So that's awesome. And then we could go ahead and either save or print this report. I'm going to go ahead and delete this just because y'all don't need to run that. If you have any questions about rosters, reports, or anything else that I've gone over previously or I'm going to go over in future weeks, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm here for you. Thanks so much for joining me for this training video, and I will catch you next time.